On this issue itself, a temporary blip or something more?
Yeah, and good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me. I would think so far this is a temporary blip. I mean, I can tell you, I took my mother to a routine doctor's appointment this morning. We had to get signed in manually, and that works if you have a dozen patients or 24 patients. But when you're dealing with maybe 150 to 200 passengers on every flight, that's not something so easy to fix in a day or even 2 or 3 days. It might have some ripple effect. But just to give you a little context, the 10, 15, 20% cancellations today, they're not great. But if you look back at Southwest in December 2022, their cancellation rate during that winter storm at the worst point was over 70%.
Wow.
So to give you a little background, this is not great news, but at this juncture looks more like a hiccup as opposed to a long-term cold.
There's a bit of a sassy joke going around, as it does, that Southwest wasn't affected because of, maybe they don't have the latest and greatest systems or something to that effect. Can you tell us, airline by airline, why you think some were affected and some weren't?
Yeah, sure. So I have to be a little careful on some single stop commentary here. But certainly if you're a global network airline, you have a lot more complex operations with different aviation jurisdictions versus the carrier that's doing almost all of its flying here in the United States. So relative to those global network carriers, yes, one can say that someone like Southwest possibly had a little easier than some of the network pairs, at least today.
Interesting. Would you then kind of pivot from that to say, OK, we've seen the stock struggle somewhat. We've seen fares under pressure. I know people might not believe it, but it is causing problems throughout the industry, even to see Delta affected, creme de la creme, so to speak. What changes this?
Yeah, look, I think post-pandemic, I think there's been a big shift in terms of the wallet share. When we look at this 2Q earnings season, the strongest U.S. airlines have already reported 2Q. Now we're probably going to see the tougher part of the neighborhood. And those three that have already reported for the second quarter alone generated adjusted earnings of somewhere close to $3.3 billion. So this is hardly a group that on the surface is struggling. Now, certainly relative to the pre-pandemic periods, there's been a big wallet share shift towards the network airlines for a number of reasons. What you do have in terms of pressure, yes, domestic main cabin does not look as strong as some of the other verticals. And on a short-term basis, once we start to have some moderation, perhaps, in passenger flow, it's not like these carriers can snap a finger and suddenly cut off the capacity. It takes a bit of time to turn that ship. And what we think we're going to see in the latter half of the third quarter is a better unit revenue environment.
Yeah, you and others seem to think that we'll kind of turn the corner on this. Maybe capacity comes down a little bit, fares can harden and so forth. Before we go, I thought your note the other day was very interesting on some long-term aviation risks due to extreme heat. I'm curious about the turbulence aspect as well. I mean, you talked about some seasonal disruptions that could affect routes, but how do you think the turbulence is an extreme heat factor, like kind of a new thing that's a risk, and how does it play out across the space that you would cover?
Yeah, no, look, I appreciate the question. So on a long-term basis, I certainly don't have all the answers in terms of where the planet is going and whether the powers that be are going to weigh politicians' economic concerns about climate change versus climatologists' dire warnings about where we're heading. But certainly on a long-term basis, if one looks at the extreme heat, you have a number of challenges to the space. First of all, demand to the locations in question. And if one looks just at the United States today, extreme heat kills more people than hurricanes, tornadoes, and floods combined. So do we get to harder periods long term where demand is going to go down in some places? And today, it's vulnerable people that unfortunately are fatalities. But do we get people hiking in national parks start to get, have heat emergencies and this kind of thing? The other thing, when one thinks about flight operations, Certainly, clear air turbulence has gotten a lot of attention recently.
Yeah.
If not 100% clear, no pun intended, that clear air turbulence and extreme heat have a direct correlation, but there are some kinds of turbulence that are related to heat, such as thermal turbulence. That kind of turbulence, thankfully, is easier to spot with radars and what have you. And then the third, in terms of ground ops, you have limited aircraft takeoff weight when the temperature goes up. So that's an economic cost to that. You also have to worry about jet fuel kerosene. Jet fuel kerosene's flash point is 38 Celsius. That might be the daytime max temperature in some cities in the Southwest.
Right.
I've only heard of one instance so far where a flight got canceled because of a heat warning on the gas tank. But these are the sort of things that investors should begin to think about.